does not equate with being effective and competitive. Something is missing. Executives increasingly believe that the missing element, the necessary condition for long-term competitiveness, is leadership. In particular, what is proving to be singularly effective is the emerging style of values-based leadership, both as motivation for constant innovation up and down all organizational levels, and as a source of unity and coherence across fragmented firm boundaries. In sum, today's corporate executives believe they are struggling with an unprecedented leadership challenge to create internal strategic unity within a chaotic external environment. That is, they are convinced that today's leaders must create strong, shared corporate values to unite their increasingly decentralized operations. But they feel this is easier said than done in a world characterized by pluralism, diversity, and myriad other fragmenting forces. Moreover, some executives fear that the creation of shared values will lead to groupthink and the accompanying loss of independent entrepreneurship and initiative that is needed more than ever throughout the ranks of their corporations. Hence, that familiar imperative of contemporary leadership. Organizations must decentralize, delayer, and destroy bureaucracy in order to obtain the entrepreneurialism, autonomy, and innovation needed to serve customers effectively. Yet, in meeting that imperative, leaders must not lose the cooperation, synergy, economies of scale, and sense of community that are the central benefits of the corporate form of organization. In essence, the leadership challenge is to provide the glue to cohere independent units in a world characterized by forces of entropy and fragmentation. Only one element has been identified as powerful enough to overcome those centripetal forces, and that is trust. And recent experience shows that such trust emanates from leadership based on shared purpose, shared vision, and especially shared values. All of this is now familiar. Perhaps it is too familiar. Indeed, most of today's executives agree with this description of the challenges they face, as they agree with the general prescription for the kind of leadership they must provide. Yet, here's the rub. Few leaders succeed at the task. Executives know what needs to be done, and even how to do it. Nonetheless, they are unable to lead change effectively. Explaining the sources of this paradox and offering a practical way to resolve it are the purposes of this audio program. While the problem I address is a familiar one, my approach is unorthodox. Instead of being the standard how-to manual, most of which are based on the narrow findings of academic social science research, the focus of this volume is broader, drawing insights from history, moral and political philosophy, and especially the practical experiences of men and women in many different cultures and under diverse circumstances. I have been forced to this approach by necessity because the how-to approach has proved impractical. Admittedly, that conclusion is paradoxical, and therefore it presents the most formidable barrier to the acceptance of the unorthodox focus of this audio program. But if decades of repetition of the orthodox how-to approach has not helped leaders to become more effective, it stands to reason that the time has come to find a more efficacious tack. Included in the narrative that follows are distillations of lessons I have learned from over 2 decades of close observation of corporate leaders. My primary teachers have been men and women who have committed themselves to the long, tough slog of effecting meaningful change in their organizations. Thus, this is a practical book in that it is based on the success and failures of the real leaders whose experiences I describe. Yet, that does not make this a how-to book, because the key lesson I have learned is that the primary determinant of a leader's success or failure